with, I think that is like 1,000 words, all words starting with Aleph. So it
Yes,
is something like this, But
yes,
I was, since I never heard about him, he was like a student from Rain Vital. I feel kind of distant nowadays from this perspective, let's say, from this reading. Um, kind of distance for a moment. And I was wondering if you know him.
yes.
Hello.
It's an interesting question, Fernando. And good morning, Cindy. Good morning, Jill. Yes, once we used to have the lawyers writing like 16 volumes or 15 volumes, and I used to read regularly. And yes, this is the name, one of the names that appears there, according to. Yes, I can look for you if you're interested. I can look and I can write to you about Moshe Zachut. Yes.
Yeah, no, if I may ask a question, and I
Yes, yes.
was, uh, because we are facing like this, how can I say it? I don't know if I could say that is a dissolution or something about this rigid, like this rigid Kabbalah, this rigid way of looking at the text, somehow. And what I feel is that it's a process of dissolution somehow. And came one image to my mind. I think that you remember once you made an image of Nahash with Nach inside, that is comfort,
Yes,
and the
yes,
and the Shin with like a square, making with the Shin a
yes,
square.
yes.
That the Nach, the comfort, is a prison, can be a prison, right? But with
Comfortability
this same,
and yeah,
yes, and with these same letters we can write Chochmah Nistar, the secret
yes,
wisdom. And I was thinking that sometimes if you get picked by a frame of things only from this vein, if you do not, let's say, go in circles, looking from different points of view and from the perspective of the unity, from the perspective of the infinite, also in this, let's say, Kabbalah, you can be trapped into a cage. And I was just wondering, what do you think about this?
thank you for the question. Yes, and I would like to expand your question and explain maybe the question. Good evening, Yanis. Fernando was asking about, like, let's say, a text that was written in the 16th century, Kabbalistic writings, or the wisdom of opening the Torah as a living Torah. And he was offering the perspective that it also, even this way, it might be a closed way of reading it. And he was relating to the fact that once we learn or we open the word serpent in Hebrew, just let me pronounce it or write it here in the chat box. A serpent in Hebrew is nachash, serpent. Second, let's say I have to, yes, this is serpent. Serpent. And once in class, we open the word nachash into two parts and then another one. We look at nun chet as comfortable. The two first letters are serpent in Hebrew. And then there's a dash and the shin. Nun chet is not just the name of Noah that built the ark, it means also comfortable. Comfortable. And please notice that the word serpent is written from right to left with Nun chet, which means also comfortable, noach, comfortable chair, and shin. The shin is a composition of 3 vertical lines and 1 horizontal line. Now, when we open the shin, instead of writing 3 vertical lines and 1 horizontal, it's just 4 lines. So we can also rearrange those lines in a different way, and we create from those lines, 4 lines, a closed room or a closed, let's say, rectangle. And the letters Nun Chet, which means comfortable, we can write inside this square or this rectangle, and it is comfortable. It is very comfortable when we sit, or we have like comfortable life is like to be closed in a way in 4 walls when there's no coming and going. And this is a trap. This is the trap of the serpent. Before we continue to try to answer Fernando's question, do we understand this image of the serpent? Cindy, Jill, Yanis, do we understand? You do? Very well. So, what is the trap here? Life is very comfortable, or people live very comfortable life. Yanis, if you understand this image, please say. And if not, also say that we could maybe explain in a different way. So, living comfortable life is basically a trap. Not really. Yeah, not really. Okay, so let's listen and see how it goes, and later maybe we shall add a text. So, living comfortable life can be also a trap. It's very comfortable within those 4 walls, not just physically 4 walls, but with this kind of framing life, not just 4 walls, but framing as a frame. Life is comfortable, people go to vacations, yes, there are holidays, there are, let's say, friends events or family events, or even people sit in their, let's say, cycles. Some people sit in chess clubs, sometimes in golf clubs, country club, all kinds of clubs, which to some people might be really comfortable frame of living life. But this is also a jail. Do we understand before we continue? So far, it's also a trap, because everything is comfortable and quite predicted. And also, in a way, Fernando in a way goes another step forward, and he says that the letters of Nun Chet are not just comfortable, but they're also abbreviation of the hidden wisdom. The hidden wisdom, Chokhmat Hanestar. He says also when people take this, so to speak, ancient wisdom and they try to build a fence around it and to freeze it in time, this is also a trap. And I agree with you. Yes. Yes. Life cannot be trapped, put in a cage, fenced in. There isn't something like it. Yes? There isn't something like it. Because if there's a fence around something, a jail, a frame, it implies that there is two, inside and outside, and there isn't. And here we come from this question, beautiful question, to today. Today is the fast of Esther, Esther fasting, so to speak. Usually people think what is to fast? It means not to eat. Yes. Some people do not hear music, not to drink. This is how people think when they, in a way, apply fasting in their mind. But what is really fasting? What do you think? What do you think? Before we open this topic and before we open Esther fasting, what is fasting really mean? What does it mean? Fasting. Fasting. You can unmute and speak. Jill, would you like to speak about that? What is fasting? Yes, Jill.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, good morning. How do you do?
I'm doing good. For me, fasting has always been like staying away from something, like kind of like how you explained it, for a specific period of time and with specific rules around it. Just like not doing something or not eating something, or yeah, that's what fasting is to me.
It's like being. This is the meaning of being. Usually people think, thank you, Jill, that fasting is to do something actively. But it's about just to be. Just give us an example. Yesterday and the previous 2 weeks, there's always like jungle drum music from school. They are promoting Purim every day before children enter class. There's like jungle drums, music from TikTok. Every second they change the music style, the lyrics. Everything is just, I don't know how to describe it even. Yesterday also they started drumming really hard. And also heat wave came and many things happened. There were like air raids and there was like car crashing into a strip mall like in the movies. The driver was, we were just buying peanuts, there was someone in a car and just banged his car, taking it, how do you say, back. He deliberately, he was like driving backwards to the vitrinas of the shop, smashing, and then he put it on drive and then smashed another island of traffic. And people just call the police, try to understand if it's like terrorist activity or not. And so many things happened yesterday. The cat was looking twice here. She climbed twice to find a refuge. And happening all the time. And there's like action and students are running into the buses with costumes. And today is the feast of fast of Esther. It is quite interesting. This is a very quiet day. I thought in the morning that the children do not go to school, but they do go to school. And there's no drumming. And when you go to the city, everything is very quiet. It's just being. This is the meaning of fasting. This is the meaning of fasting. Is it clear what fasting is, what fasting means? That we are not the doers. There's no process in a way which is happening. I think it means like this is the stage of the infinite. Yes? If we could say stage or state of the infinite, there's only being. There's no drumming, there's no air raid, there's no arming, marching in, people not doing like car accidents, driving back and forth in a strip mall, going into shops, in and out, smashing everything. Fasting, it means being. Also, this is why, in a way, Purim and Kippur Yes, the Day of Atonement is almost the same letters. Purim is like, yes, Purim with the kaf in front is like Kippur. Fasting, what does it mean, fasting? It means to be one with the infinite. There is no action that goes out. Yes? And in this manner, and this is a kind of, let's say, a shift on the way we think or perceive things, but fasting is like Sarah as a barren. Do you understand those two things? They are not different. Those are not two things. Fasting and Sarah's barrenness are not two different things. Is this understood or not? Or we perceive those two topics as different? Can we see this as one? This is the question. Trying to. So let's speak about fasting. This is easier. Fernando, do you see parallel lines between fasting and Sarah's barrenness? How do you say? Yes. Yes, Yanis, yes. Yes. Yes, not producing. Very well. Yes. Yes, there's very well. There's no need to act out. Very well. It's not passivity. Yes, this is not passivity. Being, this is a very interesting distinction. Being, it does not mean passivity. In fasting, in a way, there is no noise. What do we mean by noise? Those thoughts, this thinking that I'm the doer, I'm the actor, if I would not do, and if I would not perform, and if I don't go and make money and earn salaries, and if I don't become A, B, C, D, suddenly this noise stops. This is fasting. This is fasting. Yes, yes. You could hear the waves today. Yesterday, who can plan such a thing? Since the morning, air raids, non-stop, school drumming like jungles, children shouting, parents honking, buses are full of people, exploded of people. Cat was the cat felt stress. She was looking for a refuge twice. What else? So fasting, people think, it is funny because what happens is people take this fasting as I'm not eating, like diet, and they feel upset after a few hours because they're getting nervous of not eating or uneasy. And what happens is the opposite. The thinking is just beating hard more and more. This is not fasting. When fasting, what happens when fasting? We are not the action figures. We are not the doers. Let life be as life intend to be. This is fasting. Life as it is. We're not the makers. We are not the doers. We are not the directors. We're not the promoters. This is interesting. It's beautiful because if you look at those 2 days, who could say it's the same place? Because it was, what was it even? And suddenly another day comes, and heavenly's like heavens tunes everything, and there's like quiet and peace. This is the meaning of fasting. And why, in a way, the fasting of Esther? Because it's not this day is called Esther fasting, but it's not about a figure. Yes, it means the hidden. The hidden, or in the source, there's silence. In the source, there is silence, there is no noise. In the source, there is no shadow, and there's no the thinking, the noise of, so to speak, I'm the maker, I'm the doer, identity, I'm the son, I'm the daughter, I was born here, my name is, there isn't. So it's not the fasting of a figure, of course not. In the hidden, in the noumenon, in the source, in the infinite. Just being. This is Sarah's barrenness. Barrenness, how do I express it? Jill, how do I express it right in English?
Barrenness,
Barrenness.
like, let's see, not able to produce.
Yes, excellent,
Empty.
excellent. Yes, yes, this is it. Very well. Yes. So you see, those are not two different modes. Sarah's barrenness and the hidden fasting, it's the same thing. Good afternoon, Abigail. So when in the books we finally, very occasionally, finding that, and people do not know how to read this, so this is a common mistake. When we find in the books, in the Midrash, that Esther is Sarah, because people read Esther is Sarah, yes? But they think about figures. But it's not about figures. The hidden as Esther, like, which is hiding, it's not yet coming out to the manifestation. The hidden is like Sarah. It doesn't come into manifestation. It doesn't need to manifest. Being does not need to manifest. So Sarah she doesn't have a need for it. And this is how the Bible in a way describes, like saying something and Sarah is barren. This is it. This is the description of infinite, of life in the infinite. And Sarah is barren, not was. Because, again, all the translations of the Bible, looking at the Bible as historical story, and the verbs, which are written in present tense, are translated already for past form, and it is written, and Sarah was barren. Not at all. Not at all. Check every verb that you read in the Bible, especially those that are written in past tense. If they're written in Hebrew, and in present tense. So, and Sarah is barren. It means infinite, not yet been manifested. This is what it is all about. It's not about personalities. It's not about ladies who lived in the past and this is the story like the House of Kings in England. This is not. Not at all. Good morning, Lucas. Happy to see you here. And Sarah is barren. This is infinite or nomenon that has not yet come to a phenomenon or a manifestation in space and time. This is prior, before the metrics of space and time. It's not a bad thing. This is because it's not we. The cognition, the process of thinking, enjoy the fact that it can think and count. So what we can count is the manifested. 1 tree, 2 trees, 3 trees, 4 oranges, 5 apples. This is what the cognition likes to do. There is a problem for the cognition if the cognition cannot count. Cognition, selfing, has a problem if it cannot count or tell a story. It's a problem. Because in Sarah's bareness, or in the fasting of Esther, or the hidden as a fasting, you cannot tell anything, you cannot count anything. So, for the cognition, it's a problem that Sarah is barren. But not for the infinite. Is this understood? Very questions? I would like to attend another midrash. It's a teaching by saying, not teaching, but it's like wisdom. There is a saying that follows the sentence. I will say it in Hebrew and translate it into English. Hu mekom ha'olam. He is the place of the world. Ve'en ha'olam mekomo. But the place or the world is not his place. Did you understand this saying? Or shall I repeat it? Hu, it means he. He, it means the infinite. Yes. Hu in Hebrew, it means he. In English, third, hidden. But the referring is to the infinite. Again. Hu mekom ha'olam. Infinite is the place of the world. Ve'ha'olam, and the world, it's not his place. What does it mean? Who would like to speak about that? Yes, Fernando, would you like to speak? Yes, Fernando. Yes, very well. Yes, you're writing well. Yes, Fernando. Can you unmute? Because we already clicked.
Sorry.
Yes, okay.
I found it quite proximate, let's say, quite not similar, but it brings the same idea that you posted on selected readings about the gold bracelet. That
Yes,
the bracelet
yes,
made of gold, but not the
yes,
gold is made of bracelet.
yes,
And
yes. This is
this is quite deep, Betty, because it brings us to a state that you cannot grasp, you know, like you, uh, how can I say, you you go to a space that you are not thinking anymore because it your mind cannot catch, let's say.
yes, yes. That's correct. That's correct.
And I was thinking, you know, when we read the book of Zohar, it always it speaks. If you read the side notes, especially,
Yes.
you know, he is mostly connected to Zeranpin, the six lower spheres, the six middle spheres, and Makom is connected with Shekinah, that is Malchut, related to Malchut. And following as well the Zohar, the main idea is to marriage these two parts, to make it a love relationship. So how can one make this love relationship with between Makom, the place, and the infinite?
We don't make those things, they're just happening. Yes. He is the place of the world. Let's open. Yes.
No,
Yes,
you
I would
see
like.
how it is impregnated, like how we make this marriage as if we could make this marriage, you know, because it is from the infinite. You can be an observer, I think, or not interfere the marriage, but you're not the doer, let's say. But just to point how it is impregnated in our mind, you know, I need to do something to the marriage, but in fact we need maybe not interfere in the marriage.
Interesting, because thank you, Fernando. It is that the infinite is the place of the world. But the world, it's not his place. Meaning, in the manifestation, the infinite expresses itself in space and time. But space and time cannot express the infinite. Do we understand that? Or not yet? Yes. Good afternoon, Ogbai. Again. The world, or the manifestation, is an expression of the infinite. But the manifested world cannot express the infinite. Or this example that the sages are giving, that the bracelet is made out of gold. But the gold is not made out of bracelet. What is easier for you or for us to understand? The gold in the bracelet, infinite and manifestation. Let's say, look at the tree. Which tree is blooming now? Let's say the apple tree. So there's a blossom of the apple tree. There are flowers. So this is an expression of the infinite. The moment, because where the buds and the flowers are coming from, popping out, it's expression of the infinite, express itself in space and time. Yes? But when we look at the trees and nature, at ourselves, we don't yet realize the infinite because it's not manifested yet. This is why the world or the manifestation still cannot express infinite. It's been seen here as coming from the infinite, but we cannot track and see and encounter with all the infinite possibilities because they're not yet been manifested. Yes, yes, that's exactly what it is, Fernando. And another question that I would like to answer, Fernando mentioned it, I think, a few sessions ago about Purim and about the drinking of wine and so. And Fernando mentioned drunk, and we said it's not to get drunk, but it is to drink until that we don't know. And I would like to open this a bit. What is the difference between getting drunk or being drunk and to drink until we don't know? There is a difference. Yes? When someone is drinking and getting drunk, what happens is that there is a sense of control, because when people have, like, let's say, drinking problems or using a lot of alcohol, it goes to the system, and there's a great sense of control. So people who are usually drinking alcohol, there's an issue of control. They have the sense of that they're in control. This is about getting drunk. But to drink until we don't know, this is something else. This is non-duality. Because knowing, what is knowing? It's a meeting between two. You know this person or you don't know. You know this person, it means there's a meeting, recognition. Yes, yes, that's very well, yes. Very well, Fernando. So what does it mean that in Purim we drink, and this is in a way this, how do you say, the walking. There's a walking in Purim called Ad Lo Yada. When people are marching the streets, there's also march, yes? Also to march, to walk. So there's a walking, yes, in the street. When people drink, they drink. They're not drunk, but people drinking until they don't know. Ad, this is how they write it in Hebrew. Ad until, ad. I'm writing it with dashes that you will be able to track it. Ad delo yada, until they don't know. No, until they don't know, and it means until they're getting drunk. No, until there is no distinction. Because even if you, and this is how they say in Hebrew, to drink in a measure. What does it mean? Not to get drunk, that the alcohol and people get mad or so. Let's say if we drink, just an example. I don't do this, but Sometimes I take a sip of a wine, a sip, and I feel immediately a sip. I just feel, just like a bit foggish. That it's not clear. A sip. And even the sip I don't like because it becomes a bit foggish. And it means to drink in measure. It's not to get drunk too much that people are vomiting or have this tantrum of control or shouting or falling on the floor. It means to drink until you feel like, Because when, let's say, cognition is there, so you say, okay, it's a table, it's a chair, there's like everybody's running on their programs, everybody convinced that they know, and when you drink, it's a bit, This is why they say, also they say this in Latin, yes, when somebody's drinking, the secret goes out, yes? Nichnas yain, they say, Nichnas yain, wine enters. What is it? Yetza sod. Yes, secret came out. Fernando, can you write it in Latin, Veritas, about what happens when people drinking wine? Truth comes out. So there is a difference in Purim, the whole, let's say, course. Yes, thank you. Yes, it's also, yes. It means that with the sipping of wine also truth comes out, because there's like the guard, the cognition, the profiler does not want to share things. The walls are still of cognitions, yes, are standing, protecting the city, so to speak, of personality, but in vino, veritas, with wine also comes the truth. People drink a bit, 2-3 sips, they get loose and they relax, they can share, because sharing is opposite to control. When we have a sense of control, we want to fence everything in. Yes, to have control of the knowledge. Where was I? So, what is the thread of Purim? To drink until we don't know. There's no sense of that I am the thinker, the sense of I'm sure of my identity disorder. You drink and you say whatever, to lose a bit, to lose the grip of control. And it's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of it, because also Adar is this is the month, and Purim, this is the 12th month from spring. And in Weinberg books, when you take, and this is the matrix, anyway, the end of the matrix, yes, the 12th month, and you take 12 by 12. This is the matrix. You make a, how do you say, a matrix? I'm trying to write it in English, but the letters are not coming. So let's do it like that. 12 by 12. This is the matrix of the 12 months. What happens? 12 times 12, we have 144, which is truth, emet, or Adam. This is the matrix. This is it, emet, Adam. Yes, this is it. Yes? Yes. Wine also connected to Yesod, the secret, and Sod. Yes. Wine has the same value. Yain is Sod, secret. Yes? 70. Gematria. Both wine and secret have the same value of 70. So what is it about the Purim? What is the principle of not knowing? What is not knowing? Being. Yes? Because the sages are saying there's a dramatical figure in the story called Haman, and the sages are saying, Where does this name come from? Those letter Haman, Hey Mem Nun, because God already, not in the book of Esther, but previously in the book of Genesis, yes, God asking Adam, did you eat from the tree that I told you not to eat, Hamin Ha'etz? Is that from the tree, Hamin Ha'etz? Is that from the tree? Yes? Is that from the tree that I ask you not to eat, you have eaten? Hamin Ha'etz, the tree. And Hamin, it's the same letters like Haman. So the sages say that the name Haman, or those letters, Hey Mem Nun, are not just appearing in the book of Esther as a name or as a figure that tries to offer the top of knowledge or control. It already appears in the book of Genesis in the first question to Adam. Is that, Adam, that you have been eaten from the tree that I told you not to eat from the tree of knowledge? You have eaten. So the whole story, the axis of the story sits not just between figures and names, but between knowing and not knowing. So Haman and his advisors, yes, astrologers, they're always processing data. We know in this month that God is sleeping. Let's, calculating according to the stars, mathematics, sciences. Yes, this is the tree of knowledge, the data. The nights of data, processing, farming data all the time. Yes. And the other is just to be. This is what the story is about, or what this month is about. Yes, being, yes, as a form of non-doing, parallel or knowing. This is it. Being against or parallel to knowing. Or being parallel of having. Quite simple. Any questions? Yes. Yes, Fernando, would you like to speak about that? Can you unmute and speak about it?
Just to thank you, Eti, and I think that is what everything that you brought today portrays beautifully this idea of being trapped, because also knowing seems that is like a bank account, because if you know, so let's say even in rituals, I'm doing this ritual because it will please God, and so on and so forth. It is also a trap. It can also be a trap. It can be a connection, of course, but it also can be a trap. I'm the general of this wisdom, so you do not leave a space to the infinite fill the cup.
Exactly.
So just to thank you.
Exactly. This is why it's beautiful what you say to fill the cup, because when Jacob, there's a lore about Jacob and Esau, he offered him a wine in the time that he was eating the stew. And Jacob put a bit of water to the wine that Esau will not get drunk. So it's just this infinite is like water. Yes, and knowledge is the wine. Thank you so much for this example, questions, and participation. Thank you so much for being here, and happy Purim or holiday or season for all. Hope to see you soon on Saturday. And Fernando, we wish you a good recovery from the cold. Thank you so much, and shalom, shalom.
Shalom, friends. Thank you so much, Eti. See you soon.